Welcome back to another YouTube video, guys. Today I'm going to be doing a review on my Canyon Stitched 720. I got a list of things I need to talk about. Let's just start out by saying this is my favorite bike I've ever owned. I love basically everything about it except for like 8 things I'm going to talk about. It's a slope style bike, obviously you know that. It's a 100mm travel, front and rear. Really good suspension, and it's a really fun bike for big jumps and any kind of dirt jumps and stuff like that. Okay, so now here's some things I want to talk about. The first thing I need to mention is the seat. The original seat it comes with is a nice pivotal seat, but it's the seat position. In order for there to be a rear shock, this seat is really far forward so that the seat never hits the tire when it bottoms out. Well, I decided I'm going to raise the seat up and slide it back because it's really close to the bars. I don't like that. So I decided to put on a seat with some what are these rods?
Sliders.
So I decided to buy a seat with some sliders here so you can slide it back farther, and that's a lot better. Okay, the next thing I talk about is the rear shock. This shock has been super good. I basically never bottom it out, even if I run it supple, you know.
Got a leaf in there.
I guess so. I run about 200 PSI in there, and this is about all the travel I ever use. Now, there's one thing I need to say about it though. With the position of it, think about all the dirt that comes off this tire. When it rips around, it's all going to be hitting right here. So it's not ideal for riding like really gravelly trails because it'll hit the shock over and over, and it's doing fine, but I feel like eventually it might get worse. All right, the next thing is the gear ratio. I personally like the gear ratio. It's really hard, so it works well when you're at high speeds. I think it's a 32 and 11, so pretty hard gearing. But it really is nice. Say if you case a jump and you need to get speed up for like on a high speed course, you'd be able to feel the next jump just fine. But for riding around street, it really is pretty hard gear and you can't speed up super fast. All right, the next thing I need to talk about is the chainstays. Take a look close up here. You can see.
That's not a chainstay.
No, listen, it is. Well, listen, what I'm talking about is the length of the chainstay. On the website, look at my face really quick. On the website, it advertises it as being a 400mm chainstay, which is true if you slam this all the way forward, but there's no way when it's all the way back here. It felt like probably 420, and it wasn't that great for backflips, which I've done a couple in foam pits and on real jumps, or 360s or anything. And so what I did is I took out the chain tensioners, and it actually is the perfect length of chain where you can just take out a link and put it back together with the nice master link, wherever it is, and slam it all the way forward. And look at how nice and tight it is here now. See, that's all nice tight in the tire. It really is good for manuals and 360s and all that stuff. All right, the next thing I need to talk about is the bars. This is not a big one. This is personal preference, and I still have the stock bars. They're a little bit lower rise than I would like on this bike. It's kind of like you're leaned over a lot, which is not bad. It's just personal preference. I may put on a 40mm or 50mm rise bar in the future, but these are fun. Okay, the next thing is the paint. Within the first like 2 days, there was a little chipping. Like, look on this side right here. It really has, it's not gone any worse, but like a little chip here and a chip around like where there's compression on the brakes. But other than that, I really like the paint color, and it really has, it's been pretty durable. It's just the first day it came with little chips. Obviously, next thing I'm talking about pedals, it didn't come with any pedals, which is kind of obvious. You should be expecting that. But I just threw on some flat pedals, some 1-ups, composite pedals. Do the job just fine. All right, so the next thing is the tires. The stock tires were Maxxis DTH, just street tires, and they were terrible for trails, okay? So I decided to put on some Cross King, Continental Cross King and Race King tire. Been working out super well. There's just enough grip. Here, look at this front tire. It's got a little, there's just enough grip to where you can still ride some actual like enduro trails. I rode some like real trails on this bike, and it works out pretty well. Okay, the next thing is the price. This is a super good deal if you live in Europe where you can actually get them. If you live in Canada, you have to pay an extra like $600 in import taxes and everything, and then where the price comes up to be about $2,600. Still is a reasonable price, I'd say, but yeah, you have to think about that. And if you're not in the United States, you can't get them yet. I think that in the future they have said that they're trying to get these to be available in the United States, but for some reason they're not selling the slopestyle bike in the United States at this moment. All right, the next thing is a stem. Look at this thing. You see this terrible little edge right there? That does not feel good if it hits your hip area. It's super sharp, and it kind of looks weird too. So that's just something you need to think about when you buy this bike, because the stem length is fine, but that does not feel good when you hit that.
But it comes with that cool top cap.
I guess the top cap is kind of, I don't know. Some people might think it looks cool.
No, it's dumb.
And I swapped out the grips to some different grips because the original grips were kind of hard, but these are good. One nice extra, which I took off, is it actually came included with a front brake, which is not advertised to come with a front brake.
But it was mechanical.
It was mechanical front brake, but it did work completely fine. I took it off because I crashed and bent the brake rotor on the front, so I decided just to take it off. And now it's all nice and clean. The wheels have been fine. Sometimes the hub will make a little bit of a clicking noise.
They're unbranded?
Unbranded hubs. It's the DT Swiss wheels. Anyways, they've been working fine. Now, I'm gonna go back to the shock really quick. I need to add one more thing. One other thing about the rear shock is the reason why it's so far back underneath between these two tubes is so it can have a really progressive curve. And that way, even when you're just basically never gonna bottom out. I've overshot some jumps way too far, and it's really helped a lot, I think. Yeah, so do I think you should buy a slopestyle bike? Obviously, and I think this is the slopestyle bike that I think you should buy. Canyon Stitch 720. It's basically the only bike I ever ride, even on trails. I'll show a couple of videos, some short clips here. I'll ride this on real mountain bike trails. I'll run the suspension soft, and it'll still be nice. But then I want to go over some jumps, put 50 PSI in the tires. I run 130 PSI in the fork, 200 PSI in the rear shock. Yeah. Really, really fun bike. Shorten up the chainstay. And yeah, so that's my review. I've had it for about 6 months, and so far I really like it. If anything changes, I'll let you know. Be sure to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.